It is Friday, October 13th, at the time of me recording this message. And just the other day, my husband informed me that the world was talking about a former Hamas leader who called for October 13th to be the day of anger, and that they should basically have jihad on the day of October 13th, which happens to be Friday the 13th. Anyone who knows my husband and I know that we're a lot like the two people on that show, Dharma and Greg, where they are a married couple who are ever so different and often have some conflicting views as well. Because Dharma, the wife, is a free-spirited yoga instructor, and the husband is an aristocratic type who's like a lawyer and uses more of his logic than his creativity. Anyway, in much the same way, my husband and I are like that, with me being the spiritual one and him being the more logical, grounded one. And our differences are what actually keep things interesting in our relationship. Fast forward to this morning, Friday, October 13th. Friday the 13th, right in the middle of spooky season. And they're calling for jihad against, anyone who is against whatever it is they're believing. And that made me wonder, well, what does the word jihad even mean? So I checked it out, and it looks like dictionary.com says that jihad is a struggle or fight against the enemies of Islam. It can also mean the spiritual struggle within oneself against sin. And according to Britannica.com, a well-known hadith, which is a tradition, therefore refers to 4 primary ways in which jihad can be carried out: by the heart, the tongue, the hand, by physical action, short of armed combat, and the sword. So it's really unclear when this former Hamas leader is, designating Friday, October 13th as the day of jihad. It's very unclear on what is actually meant by the word jihad in this situation particularly. But in many ways, it's a struggle between good and evil, and trying to promote what is good and at the same time prevent what is evil in their own beliefs. So as my husband and I were sitting there having coffee this morning and talking about how it is Friday the 13th right now, and, some people are fearful on this day to go out and about, fearing what could possibly happen, fearing the unknown. And as we thought of this, I decided to pick up my phone to look up if there was a particular time where the entire world would be on Friday the 13th at the same time. I didn't have any luck in finding that out, but right when I picked up my phone, it said it was 10:13 a.m. on October 13th. And I was like, oh my gosh, 10:13 on 10:13. And it's while I was about to look up something about October 13th. So this is just crazy confirmation. Of course, that led me to write in my journal. As I was writing out my thoughts regarding Friday the 13th and this day of anger, basically, I came to the conclusion that the 1013 was confirmation to me that even if nothing happens today or any day, that people should be on alert when they're out in groups of people, of course. But then, as I was writing in my journal, I wrote, we're also spiritually protected if we're children of God. And as I thought that, I put my pen down and I looked out the window. And right there, outside my window, On a branch of my oak tree was a woodpecker, pecking away at a dead branch. So just as I was thinking about raising your vibration out of fear and to remember who I truly am as a child of God, I looked up and saw a woodpecker. I clearly saw that as a spiritual message based on what I was thinking right before witnessing the woodpecker at work. So I got busy looking up the spiritual significance of the woodpecker. Unfortunately, woodpecker was not in Taschen's Book of Symbols, and it was not in my medicine cards book either. So I turned to Google and looked for the spiritual significance of the woodpecker. The woodpecker was first showing results from A2ZAnimals.com, and that result on Google says, the woodpecker symbolizes new opportunities, creativity, optimism, courage, motivation, revival, self-actualization, balance, communication, protection, and discernment. This bird is most closely associated with opportunity and new possibilities. It inspires you to seize your desires and never give up on your dreams. And one of the infographics that popped up on Google said, the woodpecker symbolism is related to new beginnings and the power of positive thinking. It helps to overcome challenges, instilling hope and faith in the face of adversity. So, while we should be vigilant, we should have hope and faith in the forefront, not fear in the forefront. I also saw that CherokeeCopper.com says that the woodpecker has meaning also to the Cherokees. And that said that woodpeckers are a sign of bravery and war. They're the only known bird that will take on an eagle and win. So I feel like the message that I received from the woodpecker is that as long as we remember who we really are and stand in power, in hope, and in faith, with always an open mind to new possibilities, then we will have the courage to take on any challenge, no matter how large or great it is before us. It's important not to let the propaganda that the news media puts out take control of our emotions. It's important not to get stuck in fear based on what people without good intentions for us want us to feel. The media, the government, those in power all over the world, they want us in fear. They want us to see each other as enemies. They want us filling our heads with these things. But it's up to us to keep hope and faith in the forefront. That was the message from the woodpecker on this Friday, the 13th.